G'day folks, I'm actually taking this opportunity while sitting next to Sydney Harbour to tell you about how I'm walking away. I'm actually sitting down right now, so I thought I'd better use my fingers to indicate the fact that I'm walking away from Australia's healthcare system. G'day Lady Emily, what do you reckon? Bit of sunshine today, hey? A few dogs out, a bit of sunshine, isn't that incredible? Incredible sunshine in Sydney, which I thought it was going to be underwater only a couple of weeks ago. We've had nothing but rain. G'day Aliki, how you going? Do you like the view? Isn't it fantastic here? Just celebrating a bit of Sydney sunshine after wanting a refund for our summer, which did nothing but rain. I've actually got some medicinal cannabis here to help me take in the wonderful vista. Now, I'm using this opportunity, and thank you everyone for joining me. For those of you who can hang around for a couple of minutes, and no striped clouds. No, it's really good, isn't it? So I'm using this opportunity to tell you about the fact I'm walking away from Australia's healthcare system. And it's the reason for that is for the last 30 years I've been collecting evidence about the number of patients that it harms and then engages in cover-up. And I've been able to determine that the Australian healthcare system harms Australians routinely. And because it's so well practiced at doing it, it then engages in cover-up. It's part of its whole practice. And you'll know that the last couple of years, so many of us have been dragooned and coerced, and let's face it, downright forced into Big Pharma's experimental COVID vaccines for Australia. And Australians are not allowed to have choice. That's what Australia's healthcare system has told us. Now, from the very outset, I was telling people to be very, very careful of the Australian government mandating anything. And the reason for that was Australia's healthcare system is covering up murder of children. That's right. There are an inordinate number of children with the bleeding disorder haemophilia in Australia. The total population of someone with the bleeding disorder haemophilia in Australia in the 1980s and before the 2000s would have been something like 2,500 people. Well, guess what? They killed 1,400 of those, and many of them were children, when they knowingly delivered a contaminated blood treatment called Factor VIII. It's murder and it's crime. Well, so many of us survivors have been trying to get help, trying to get medical treatment. If you've watched my videos, you'll know that for years I've been trying to get 2 broken teeth fixed by New South Wales Health. I turn up to appointments and they cancel them without telling me. And yesterday, which was a public holiday here in Sydney, I was informed by Sydney St Vincent's Hospital that an appointment that I've been waiting ages for, I've been referred by my neurologist and I've been referred by a GP, and they marked urgent because I have bone marrow failure and it's now impairing my motor function. Okay, that's why I have to ingest cannabis all the time. I literally go through ounces and ounces a week just to be able to walk, just to be able to talk, and just to be able to be a human being. Okay, I do this all on my own money. And in fact, I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, campaigning for victims of Australia's deadliest medical scandal, my own money. And the reason I've done it is because I've seen people murdered. And I've been hoping one day that I'd get the chance to go before a judge. But the Australian government and the Australian healthcare system has done its level best to make sure that Australia's deadliest medical scandal, HIV and Hep C contaminated blood, goes nowhere near a judge. Okay, that's why they've been making secret payments to victims. We've had victims in our group, mothers who got tainted blood during childbirth. They might be single parents now with 3 kids, and they're given $10,000 and a confidentiality agreement for cirrhosis and liver cancer. I ask you, how is that fair? How is that fair on their children? How is that fair on them? And there's been $10,000 payoffs for people with liver cancer. How is that fair? We had haemophiliacs actually in our group in the Australian Capital Territory, and the Australian government came along, and these are people who've got liver cancer, liver cirrhosis and so on, because they were knowingly given contaminated blood treatments, and they were given $5,000. $5,000. How is that fair? How is that fair? And this is the Australian healthcare system that does that to us, right? Anyway, so I've got an autoimmune disease now called cryoglobulinemia. Can't even pronounce it properly. Basically creates blood flow problems in my hands, my bladder, all over my body, right? I've also got a busted neck, okay, that was picked up in an MRI that took me over a year to get. I had to pay for myself as well, because I was denied an MRI by the New South Wales Health Service, okay? Yeah, for a year, even though my GP had said that he needs to get an MRI. So it found out I had a busted neck, and it's also found out that I have what's called bone marrow signalling problems, which is creating motor function problems, right? So this is, again, why I need all of this stuff. And I've just been going through ounces and ounces just purely to survive, so I could tell Australia and the world about our nation's biggest cover-up and about how the Australian healthcare system is actually a fraud. Okay, it's run by absolute criminals who are well practiced at knowingly harming patients, and then, of course, when it goes wrong, well, just rely on the old cover-up and the media not to report it. And this is what's happened. Those jabs, those COVID jabs, they actually harmed someone very close to me, actually the most important person in the world to me. And the frustrating thing about it was I was telling my friends and relatives, listen, just be careful. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. What does an anti-vaxxer mean anyway? I was called a Jehovah's Witness for talking about contaminated blood 30 years ago. I'm not a Jehovah's Witness, but that's what the Australian healthcare system does. Jehovah's Witness, as part of their religion, they don't like blood transfusions, okay? I'm not a Jehovah's Witness, but that's what the Australian media called me decades ago, because I was asking questions about tens of thousands of people who are acquiring deadly hepatitis C viruses or HIV from blood, and I get called an anti-vaxxer or a bloody, religious nut or whatever, or, all these insults by the Australian healthcare system, but they don't give us the answers. How many people were infected with hepatitis C as a result of blood transfusions or blood treatments? They'll never tell you. Okay, it's always guesstimates or some other way to conceal it. I'll tell you, it's been tens of thousands of people. There's one international expert overseas that believes that as many as 88,000 Australians acquired the deadly virus hepatitis C from tainted blood transfusions and blood treatments. But the Australian healthcare system will never tell you that. It'll never tell you that because its main aim is about control and cover up. Remember, when they make a mistake, they always go to lies and cover up. So, I have been taking enormous amounts of medicinal cannabis to stay alive, okay, so I could actually do all these videos and keep talking about a scandal that no one in Australia is really interested in. They're not really interested in, because if you don't have HIV or Hep C and you didn't cop bad blood like 100,000 Australians, then what skin is it off your back? Well, I'll tell you what skin it is off your back. I'll tell you what the problem is that I told you they were getting well practiced, didn't I? Well, guess what? The whole healthcare system now does it. That's why they rolled out these experimental jabs so enthusiastically. They tested out on us. You can kill thousands of Australians and there's no comebacks, mate. It's as easy as that. It really is. It's like taking candy from a baby. They just go ahead and kill, and then what happens is, we'll have our experts come out, and the experts will take a 2-second look at it and find no evidence. No evidence. I mean, for 30 years, we were saying there was something really wrong with Australia's blood supply. And the Australian government just wheels out its experts and says, no evidence. Australia has the best blood supply in the world. That's why children...
Australia number one.
Yeah, good on you, mate. We got the World Cup.
Is she pretty?
She is. Australia's very pretty.
Bye.
Anyway, we just had an audience member there, or a member of the public, who's perhaps a bit happy about Australia qualifying for the World Cup. He said, is she pretty? I don't know what you're talking about. Is Australia a she? I confirmed. She's looking very pretty today, but she's being badly let down. Is Australia a he or a she? Sorry. But Australia's being badly let down, okay, by a healthcare system. They have actually murdered children. They actually have. I'm not joking. It's no hyperbole. They've actually done that. And they've engaged in cover-up. And it's actually a young boy who went to my school that they murdered. He was one of many. And that's why I've been here for 30 plus years trying to get answers from the scum, okay, that run our system. These people are criminals. Yeah, do you know, my bone marrow failure was caused by a prescription that my GP gave me for some acne when I was a kid. Yeah, it's like the Wild West going to see your GP these days. We used to trust them, right? The white coat. I know about medicine. I'm here for you. No, they're not. They're there for big pharma. And so this guy actually prescribed me this wonderful new medication for acne in the 1980s. I'd have been quite happy to go home without it. But what do you know? He gives me this new medication and my bloody bone marrow fails. And they say to me, oh, have you been near Chernobyl? Have you been near radiation? Have you been near a bomb blast? That's the only way you can get severe aplastic anemia, the same disease as the boy in the plastic bubble. I had no ability to produce red cells, white cells, platelets, anything. I was screwed. And they told me, listen, you've got an 80% chance of dying in the next 3 months. And this is when I was a kid, okay? All right? And then imagine being in that situation after having an adverse event to a big pharma medication. You give them some pimples. And then on top of that, guess what happens? While I'm in hospital with bone marrow failure, I find out that a kid from my school, I knew actually, he'd had AIDS and he wasn't being taken care of by the New South Wales health system. And I knew that was because they were covering something up. So basically I knew that I too would get tainted blood. So they gave me a big pharma medication that caused my bone marrow to fail. Then they gave me tainted blood, and that was because they knowingly took blood from someone they knew to be a drug addict and someone they should never have collected blood, right? So I now have this bone marrow failure and bone marrow signaling problem and this autoimmune condition from my tainted blood. And I've been trying to get treatment for 3 years now. I actually had a dental appointment for my broken teeth and the dentist didn't even turn up to the appointment. No one told me. And yesterday on a public holiday, I was told by St. Vincent's Hospital, after waiting ages and having an urgent referral because I've got motor function problems, you know, okay? I can't walk, I can't talk, I can't sleep, I can't do anything without ounces and ounces of cannabis. Clearly I'm going to fucking die, right? Excuse my French. But you'd have to be insane not to know I was in trouble. Well, guess what they did? They cancelled my appointment. Just like every other appointment for 3 years. You know, there are doctors and nurses walking away from the healthcare system. It's broken. I'm an urgent case, okay? And they won't even see me. Well, the thing is, I don't care, and I'm not going to beg, all right? They know what they've done. They know that's dangerous. Last year, my GP actually sent me to get an MRI scan on my brain because he thought I might have had a stroke. Guess what? They said, nope, you're not having an MRI scan. I said, why is that? And they said, because you're unvaccinated. Yeah? Thank you so much. That was Royal Prince Albert Hospital at Camperdown. What danger they've put me in. And I'll tell you what, that's why I'm walking away. And it's the same for so many other people in our group. We've got members of our group with cancer as a result of their infections from HIV or Hep C. We've got haemophiliacs who get no assistance if they're English or Canadian. They'll be assisted because they've got Hep C or HIV. We get nothing but death and cover up here. And I'm not joking. And so I've had enough. I've had a gutful, actually. Yeah, and by God, I'm angry. Yeah, I really am. And so I'm going to not have any more hospital treatment. They didn't give it to me anyway. It's been denied me for years, so I won't bother with the charade of going to these appointments that get cancelled and then rescheduled without my approval and all this sort of nonsense. You get treated like a bit of dirt. And these health officials kick sand in our faces. Okay, they're covering up Australia's deadliest medical scandal. They've killed thousands of people with these experimental jabs that have gone wrong. That's what's going to come out. This is tainted blood all over again. Okay, and this is why I'm walking away from this system. And I'm going to basically die on my own. Okay, I'll die on my own at home. But I'd like you in Australia to know. Okay, and I hope to make a police complaint. But I'd like you to know, you need to walk away from this healthcare system. Trust me. Because over time, it will get you in the end, whether it be through medical error, malfeasance or cover-up, you will be a victim to it. Now, we really need your support for a Royal Commission. We need to do something about this healthcare system and its cover-ups, and we need to do something about the infected blood scandal. Please go to our bio and please click on that link to support a Royal Commission. Or if you're watching this on another platform, please support our Royal Commission. There'll be a link there. And I thank everybody who's watched this today. Thank you for listening to what might have sounded like a rant. But, actually, to be honest, I don't really care about myself. People say those things, I don't care. Of course I care, I don't want to die a painful death. But I'm actually very tired and I'm passionate about medicine. And, when you've got doctors being told they can't have MRIs when they send a patient to an emergency department because that patient's unvaccinated. Of course I'm unvaccinated, for goodness sake. I've got bone marrow failure. I've got tainted blood. I can't have any more risks, for goodness sake. And now, I can't get treatment. And now a patient with bone marrow failure and Hep C is told by St. Vincent's Haematology Clinic that they're going to cancel an appointment that his referring neurologist and GP were desperate for. So desperate they marked urgent. And if I die, I hope someone will lodge a criminal complaint for me because this healthcare system has killed tens of thousands of Australians. It continues to do so. It's an absolute disgrace. And yesterday, the bloody Queen of England decided in her Queen's birthday list to give honours to the health officials that had locked Australia down for years and basically destroyed our country. They coerced people into jabs. They breached the vaccine guidelines. They locked people down. They increased suicide rates. They destroyed families. They ruined businesses. And what did the Queen of England, what does she know about Australia? What she knows is that Dr. Kerry Chant should be given the Order of Australia, and all these other health officials should be rewarded for what they've done. Well, Queen Elizabeth, can you tell me why it is those health officials that you've given honours to, why it is that they're still covering up Australia's infected blood scandal? And also, perhaps the Queen might like to apologise for the fact that when she gives these titles to her colonies, she still thinks Australia is a colony of hers, when she gives these titles out, they use it down here to oppress us. People like Dr. Kerry Chant now walks head held high. I did nothing wrong. I made international news and scared people off from Australia by telling people they shouldn't talk to their neighbours, and now I'm given an honour by the bloody Queen. Outrageous. Thank you so much for listening. Our country, Australia, is in such a mess. The people they give honours to are the crooks that engage in cover-up and lock us down and wreck our country. Thank you for listening.